How is the Josh? Welcome to UPSC Med Simple channel. We are starting one series, approach series for UPSC prelims questions through UPSC previous year questions. In this, what we are going to do, we'll see how few approaches can work in some kind of UPSC questions, and that we'll see through previous year UPSC questions. So in this series, first approach is a broader inclusive versus part options. Before going to that, I would like to tell you one thing which is very important before going in these approaches and all. That is, you should always rely on your knowledge, your understanding, your conceptual clarity, your reading. First thing, you should not rely on any trick or any kind of these approaches at the first go. You should always trust your knowledge, your understanding, conceptual clarity, and your reading. In second, you can have some kind of logic, then you can use common sense, and then you can reach out to the answers. So you should never go to these kind of approaches at first go. You should always trust your understanding, your knowledge, your conceptual clarity and reading. But applying all these, if you are not able to get any answer and if your attempt is very less, then you can definitely think of this kind of approaches. So in this series, first approach is broader inclusive versus parts options. Now we will see through UPSC previous year questions. First question paper is 2011 question paper. Few questions of this question paper we will see. First is which of the following statements appropriately describes fiscal stimulus? So question is about fiscal stimulus. So we'll see how this broader inclusive versus parts approach will work here. So first statement is, it is a massive investment by the government in manufacturing sector to ensure the supply of goods to meet the demand surge caused by rapid economic growth. So first is talking about manufacturing sector. Now come to the second. It is an intense affirmative action of the government to boost economic activity in country. Then come to the third. It is government's intensive action on financial institutions to ensure disbursement of loans to agriculture sector and allied sectors to promote greater food production and contain food inflation. So this is talking about agriculture sector. Now come to the third. It is an extreme affirmative action by the government to pursue its policy of financial inclusion. So what I mean by broader inclusive versus parts option. First is a part option. Why? It is talking about manufacturing sector. Again, third is talking about agriculture sector. Again, part option. But come to the second. Second is talking about economic activity in general. That's why it is more broader and inclusive option, right? So you can eliminate first, you can eliminate third, then come to the fourth. It is an extreme. So tone is too much extreme affirmative action by the government to pursue its policy of financial inclusion. And again, it is not related to financial inclusion. It is talking about fiscal stimulus, economic, some kind of stimulus they are talking about. So option here is most appropriate is option B, right? So you can use this kind of approach when you are not able to understand what is fiscal stimulus, and with your understanding, your knowledge, your conceptual clarity, you are not able to solve this kind of questions. Here you can use this approach of broader inclusive versus part approach, right? We'll move on to the next question from 2011 itself. So question is, Himalayan range is very rich in species diversity. Which one among the following is the most appropriate? So talking about most appropriate region to this phenomena. When UPSC will ask most appropriate, that means there can be other options but which are not most appropriate. That can be appropriate. So we'll see one by one. First, it has high rainfall that supports luxuriant vegetative growth. Rainfall definitely supports this species richness. Then it is a confluence of different biogeographical zones. Yes, it also supports species diversity. Then exotic and invasive species have not been introduced in this region. Sorry. Again, this will again support species diversity. Then come to the D option. it has less human interference, again it will support. But they are talking about most appropriate. So here we can use broader, inclusive versus parts approach. How? It is talking about one part, that is rainfall. It is talking about exotic and invasive species. It is talking about less human interference. All these are responsible for species diversity. But come to the option B, confluence of different biogeographical zone. It is more broader, it is more inclusive. That's why answer is B. Right? Why not one? Why not third? Why not fourth? Because they are talking about parts. Rainfall, it's definitely, it is more inclusive. Confluence of different biogeographical zones means it will have more flora, fauna, it will have more biogeographical conditions, climatic conditions and all. That's why it is more broader and inclusive. Right? Go to the next question. Now see the question number 25 from again 2011 question paper. With reference to India, consider the following central acts. First, Import and Export Control Act 1947. Second, Mining and Mineral Development Regulation Act 1957. Then Customs Act 1962. Then Indian Forest Act 1927. Question: which of the above acts have relevance to bearing on biodiversity conservation in India? They are talking about bearing. Right? So in such questions, if you see this is one part, this is second part, these are the parts. And if you try to see the options given by the UPSC, 1 and 3 only, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So this is more inclusive, broader. And in such kind of questions, if you are not sure, you should go towards more inclusive options, that is 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now we can see how it is correct. Import and Export Control Act, yes, definitely that can avoid import and export of species, like there is smuggling, that can control. Then Mining and Mineral Development Regulation Act, yes, mining in the important biogeographical areas, that can affect. Then Customs Act, customs duty itself is to control this illegal trade and smuggling. Then Indian Forest Act itself is for the conservation. That's why 1, 2, 3 and 4. So answer is C, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Then we will move on to the next question. Again, very difficult question from 2011. What was the purpose with which Sir William Wedderburn W.S. Kane had set up Indian Parliamentary Committee in 1893? Indian Parliamentary Committee in 1893. First statement: to agitate for Indian political reforms in House of Commons. Can be possible. To campaign for the entry of Indians into imperial judiciary. Can be possible. To facilitate discussion on India's independence in British Parliament. Nonsense option. See, 1893 and they are talking about independence. I call it nonsense option. Doesn't make any kind of sense. Then to agitate for the entry of eminent Indians into British Parliament, again doesn't make any sense, because 1893 they are protesting or they are fighting for participation of Indians in British Parliament, right? That's why it doesn't make sense. Then we are coming to the 1 and 2. In first they are talking about Indian political reforms, and in second they are talking about imperial judiciary. So if you see, this is a part option and this is broader and inclusive option. Why? Because in Indian political reforms, if it is Indian political reforms, it will have some part of judicial reforms, right? So this first option is more broader than second option of Indian judicial reforms or to entry of Indians into imperial judiciary, right? That's why this is not the correct answer. Correct answer is A, to agitate for Indian political reforms in the House of Commons. So this is how broader, inclusive versus part option approach works. Then come to the question number 80. Again, kind of difficult question that time. Why is the offering of teaser loans by commercial banks a cause of economic concern? It is well and good. If you know the concept of teaser loan, you can easily reach out to the answer. But if you are not aware about teaser loan and if you have to attempt this question, then how you can approach? First, teaser loans are considered to be an aspect of subprime lending, and banks may be exposed to the risk of defaulters in future, right? So they are talking about Vijay Mallya kind of thing. Then second, in India, the teaser loans are mostly given to inexperienced entrepreneurs to set up manufacturing or export unit, right? Here, why I am telling it's broader and inclusive approach. See, first statement is a broader and inclusive, talking about some prime lending and banks may be exposed to the risk of defaulters in future, right? Not talking about any sector. In second, if you see, it is talking about manufacturing or export units, that is part option. That's why this is wrong. First statement is correct, answer is A only. Are you getting? It is talking about in general. It is a broader and inclusive option, and this is a part option. That's why second is wrong. But you should go for this kind of approaches only if you are not aware about what is teaser loans. Next, come to the question of 84. Again, 2011 question paper. Which of the following can aid in furthering government's objective of inclusive growth? So first, promoting self-help groups. Yes, inclusive growth. Yeah, if there is a promotion of self-help groups, that will contribute to the different. Inclusive growth is different sectors and different sections of population. So self-help group will help inclusive growth. Then promoting MSME, definitely it can help in inclusive growth. Then implementing the Right to Education Act, again it can help. But some people, if they start overthinking how Right to Education Act can help inclusive growth, then they may get trapped. But if you see in a broader level, right to education, that will lead to some kind of formal education, education with respect to skills and all, like ITI kind of skills, like vocational kind of education, right? If it is vocational kind of, that will directly lead to the inclusive growth, right? It will allow different sections of the people or different sections of the society to get educated to acquire some kind of skills, and that will lead to inclusive growth. Otherwise, you will stuck with 1 and 2 only. But you have to include 3, because that will make more broader and inclusive approach. That's why answer is D, 1, 2 and 3. Right. Next question. Next question is from 2013 question paper. Right. So this is question. Consider the following: electromagnetic radiation, geothermal energy, gravitational force, plate movements, rotation of the earth, revolution of the earth, right? So which of the above are responsible for bringing dynamic changes on the surface of the earth, right? So you know electromagnetic radiation, you are not aware. For example, gravitational plate tectonics, you are 100% sure it has to be there. So where there is no 4, you can remove it. Then rotation of the earth and revolution of the earth, definitely rotation of the earth and revolution of the earth, they will have some kind of dynamic changes on the surface of the earth. You know this Coriolis force, right? So revolution and rotation, definitely. So 5 and 6, it is gone, right? Then come to the gravitational force. Definitely, because gravitational force will hold the atmosphere on the earth, and that will have some dynamic changes. So in here, if you are not sure about 1 or 2, I will suggest you to go for more broader and inclusive option rather than part option. So you should go for 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 6. If you are confused about 5 and 6, you don't have any alternative like 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. You have to club them together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. This is how this broader and inclusive option versus part option can work. Come to the next question from 2013. With reference to neem tree, consider the following statement. Neem oil can be used as the pesticide to control the proliferation of some species of insects and mites. True. Neem seeds are used in manufacture of biofuels and hospital detergents. True. Neem oil has applications in pharmaceutical industry. True, right? Here you will think of broader and inclusive approach, but as per the UPSC key, it will not work. Why? Because UPSC has considered this statement as a wrong. Neem seeds are used in the manufacture of biofuels and hospital detergent. UPSC has given this statement as a wrong. But if you search on net or somewhere, you will get that neem seeds can be used as a source of biofuel, and hospital detergent definitely you can use it, right? That's why answer given by UPSC is C, 1 and 3. Here this broader inclusive versus parts option will not work. While discussing any approach, one should be aware about where it will work and where it will not work. That's why I have taken this question deliberately. Here it will not work, so that you should not completely depend upon these approaches and you forget about what you have read, what you have understood, and what are your conceptual clarity, right? That's why you should not depend completely on these kind of approaches. It will not work always, but there are again 50-50% chances, right? You will either go for 1 and 3 or 1 and and 1, 2 and 3, right? Here the chances are 50-50, right? Most of the people will go for 1, 2, 3, and most of the time it will be the correct, but sometimes it may not correct. That's what to tell you I have taken this question, right? Then come to the next question. Question number 78. Similar kind of question we have seen in 2011. Consider the following international agreements: International Treaty on Plant Genetic Resources for Food and Agriculture, United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, World Heritage Convention. Which of the above have bearing on biodiversity? Again, they are talking about bearing. That means some kind of influence, some kind of relationship, some kind of correlation, some kind of relevance, right, to the biodiversity. So here again, first genetic resources makes sense of biodiversity. Desertification has to do with biodiversity. Then World Heritage Convention, world biodiversity sites, biodiversity sites. That's why again related to biodiversity. That's why answer is 1, 2 and 3. And in such kind of questions, if you are in doubt, you should go for more broader and inclusive options, right? Similar kind of question you will see in even 2020 also. Next question from same question paper. Which of the following statements is oblique are correct? Viruses can infect first bacteria, fungi, plants. If you are in doubt, you are not aware whether it infect bacteria, fungi or plants, you are 100% sure that it infects plant. You can remove this option, but you are left with 1, 2 and 3. Then you can think of like they can even infect fungi. Then you are left with 1 and 2. You are left with only one option, right? And if you know is like there is one concept called bacteriophages. In this, virus will eat bacteria. It means nothing but they will infect bacteria. That's why you should be more inclusive, broader and inclusive approach even in this kind of question. If you are doubt, if you are not sure whether virus will infect bacteria or fungi, you can take chance and you can go for 1, 2 and 3. To select the option as A only or B only or C only, you should be 100% sure that virus will never infect bacteria, virus will never infect fungi, right? Then and then only you should choose part option, otherwise you should definitely go for a broader and inclusive approach. Next question. Same question paper. In which of the following regions of India are shale gas resources found? Cambay Basin, Kaveri Basin, Kiji Basin. Right. Most of the people are aware Kiji Basin, these shale gas resources are found. Like if you consider this, right? So it is 1, 2 and 3. Right. So people are aware about this. They will remove first. What about Cambay and Kaveri Basin? Right. If you are in doubt or if you are only 100% sure that it is not Cambay, it is not Kaveri, then only you should go for 3 only. Otherwise, if you have slightest doubt whether it is there in Cambay or Kaveri, you should go for inclusive D 1, 2 and 3, right? This is broader and inclusive approach versus parts approach. Next question from 2017 question paper. In the context of mitigating impeding global warming due to anthropogenic emissions of carbon dioxide, which of the following can be potential sites for carbon sequestration? They are talking about potential sites. They are not talking which are used, right? Potential is kind of future kind of thing. So first, abundant and uneconomic coal seams can be used. Depleted oil and gas reservoirs can be used. Subterranean deep saline formation, you are not sure. So 1 and 2, there is one option. So A and D. In here, if you are slightest doubt, like you are not aware whether it is subterranean deep saline formations or not, you should go for D 1, 2 and 3. Most of the time it will be correct, but it is not 100% sure that it will be all inclusive. Because but to remove this third option, you should be 100% sure that this is not the potential site for carbon sequestration, right? We'll move on to the next question. According to the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, which of the following animals cannot be hunted by any person except under some provisions provided by law? Only if you understand the question carefully, then only you will be able to answer this question. Simply this question is saying which of the following animal can be killed. Not, cannot, and this except, this is negative, this is negative. So negative will lead to positive, right? That means which of the following animal can be killed. So take gharial, wild Indian wild ash, wild buffalo. If you know that T1 Auni tigress was killed by poachers hired by forest officials, it will be very clear that gharial can be killed, Indian wild ash can be killed, wild buffalo can be killed, because they have used provisions provided by the law, right? And there is one movie, Sirni also, in that they have shown that T1 Avni was killed. That's why answer is 1, 2 and 3. Next, the Parliament of India exercises control over functions of the Council of Ministers through, actually in polity, don't go through any approach. I'm just taking as an example, but most of the approaches will not work, because in polity they will ask mostly exceptions. So first, Council of Minister, which of the following control over the functions of Council of Minister? Adjournment motion, yes, definitely. Question hour, they can ask questions. Supplementary questions, with that only. So answer is 1, 2 and 3. Nothing to discuss in this question. Come to the 2019 question paper. With reference to land reforms in independent India, which of the following statements is correct? First, the ceiling laws were aimed at family holdings and not individual holdings. Second, major aim of land reform was providing agricultural land to the landless. Then it resulted in cultivation of cash crops as a predominant form of cultivation. Then land reforms permitted no exemptions to the ceiling limits. So in general, if you see, like we'll discuss that approach in detail, but for here we need two approaches. One is positive negative approach. Most of the time government schemes, government's projects, government's reforms will be positive oriented. So if you see land reform as a positive oriented, first is talking about something negative. It is talking about limitation, not individual holdings. That's why this cannot be the answer. Then come to the last, land reforms permitted no exemptions to the, again talking about negative, can't be the answer. Then come to the B and D, the B and C. It resulted in cultivation of cash crops as a predominant form of cultivation. So cash crops again can be negative, because they will hamper production of oil seeds, food crops and all, right. So this is again negative, you can remove it. You can reach out to the answer. Major aim of the land reform was providing agriculture land to all landless. And in general, for this broader and inclusive approach, so they are talking about one specific provision. This is one of the result. This is talking about major aim. Major in the sense inclusive, broader. That's why answer is B. Again here they are talking about one of the provision. So it is part, it is part, it is part. So here you can use both the approaches of broader inclusive versus positive and negative. Right? Major aim, it is broader and inclusive. That's why answer is B. One of the difficult questions from 2019. Next question from 2019. In the context of any country, which one of the following would be considered as part of its social capital? The proportion of literates in the population, the stock of its buildings, other infrastructure and machines, then the size of population in the working age group, then level of mutual trust and harmony in the society. Come to the second, talking about stock of its buildings, other infrastructure and machines. It is talking about economic capital. So that's why outrightly rejected. First is talking about literates in the population. So see, for example, it is a broader and inclusive option. So here will come some literates. Literates will come here with respect to India. But they are talking about any country, right? You don't have to consider India only. So literates, for example, this is the literates. Then come to the option number 3, working age group. So this can be the working age group. Working age group. Then come to the option number D. It is talking about mutual trust and harmony in the society in general. That's why it is more broader and inclusive option. That's why answer is D. And even if you are not aware about what is social capital, but if you know what is social capital, it's well and good. You will be easily able to solve this kind of questions, right? Come to the next question from 2020 question paper. Other than fundamental rights, which of the following parts of the Constitution reflects the principles and provisions of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights? Again, they are talking about reflects. That means have some kind of bearing, some kind of relevance, some kind of relation, co-relationship with respect to Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Is the first preamble, then DPSP, fundamental rights. In polity, we know 1, 2, and 3, right? And even if you are not aware about this, whenever there is a reflects, bearing, they are talking about broader level. If they wanted to talk about part, they could have asked which of the following parts of the Constitution of India have direct correlation with provisions only of UNSDR, right? So you will see there are most of the provisions from fundamental rights, UNSDR, and some provisions in DPSP, right? But they are talking about reflects the principles and provisions, not only provisions. If it would have been provisions, answer would have been different. But they are talking about principles and provisions in general. That's why answer is 1, 2, and 3. Right? This was with respect to some questions on broader plus inclusive versus part approach. Right? We will have one more video with respect to this from some different questions, like 2018 questions in second part. Till now we have started one UPSC Made Simple channel and forum UPSC one group, so that you can discuss this kind of questions in between you, and you can have some kind of more approaches and debates and discussions for this. I will share the links in the video, right? Thank you very much. Take care.